Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this new Silicon Tech webinar. My name is Will, and with me is Marcelo, an AWS architect who will be our speaker today. He'll share his expertise in AI and its use within the AWS cloud. Today's session is titled Evaluate Your GenAI Applications with Amazon Bedrock. And before we begin, I wanted to remind you that you can contact us after this presentation and schedule one-on-one meetings with Marcelo and the technical team, and we will be happy to answer any questions and support in your initiatives. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Marcelo, to begin the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Good morning, everyone. Today we are talking about evaluations for AI applications. This is one of the most practical things you can learn for building reliable AI systems. If you have deployed generative AI applications and you ever wondered, how do I know if this is working well? And that's exactly what we are going to be addressing today. I will show you how you can use Amazon Bedrock to help you detect errors on its own, set up evaluations in minutes, and ensure that only reliable versions reach your users. Can you see my screen, Will?
Yes, perfect.
Cool. All right. Here's what we are going to cover today with practical techniques that you can use right away. First, detecting errors and hallucinations. And then we want to catch these issues before your users face them, because rebuilding trust is much harder than maintaining it. Second, is setting up automatic evaluations quickly. Instead of spending weeks building evaluation systems, we'll show you how you go from doubt to certainty in minutes. And third, creating a reliable quality gate for production deployments. And the goal is to move from guessing whether the AI is working to actually know that it is working. Let's start with the reality that we are all dealing with. Recent studies show that approximately 20% of responses from language models contain some form of error or hallucination. That's 1 in 5 responses. This shows incorrect information that sounds believable, but they are completely made up, or subtle biases that aren't obvious right away. The challenge is that without organized evaluation, these errors can reach your end users. And you know the kind of problems that this can bring. Okay, so why should you care about evaluations? The business impact that you can have is huge. First, trust. Companies spend up to millions building AI capabilities, only to have users abandon the platform only after a few bad interactions. We can all remember the first interactions with Bard, the AI that Google launched, and the problems that they had at the beginning. So trust is like a bank account. It takes forever to build up, but you can lose all the money in one bad transaction. Second, legal and compliance risks. If you are in healthcare, finance, or any regulated industry, and this isn't just about embarrassment. This is about potentially massive fines. And third, brand reputation. So today with social media, one screenshot of your AI saying something stupid can go viral in minutes. Here's something that every AI engineer lives with daily. This GenAI three-way challenge is like trying to balance 3 spinning plates. You got quality. How accurate and reliable are your responses? Everyone wants perfect answers, and generally, bigger models give you better results. But here's the catch. They are slower, so you have latency. The users expect responses in milliseconds. not minutes. So those bigger, smarter models, they are slower. And you also have the problem with cost. These high quality models are more expensive, so this can empty your bank account. So this is where evaluation becomes your secret weapon. Instead of guessing or going with the biggest model and just saying, okay, this is the one, you can try, you can test, and evaluation will help you find the sweet spot for your specific use case. Perhaps you don't need to be using GPT-4 or O3 or Claude 4 for every response. So it depends how your system is and what's your architecture, and perhaps you can use cheaper and smaller models for some parts of them. With Amazon Bedrock, you have a complete solution for evaluating your GenAI application. So we just don't evaluate individual models in isolation. Instead, we can evaluate three key things. First, the models. Any model, any LLM, whether it's from Amazon Bedrock, OpenAI, Anthropic, or any custom model that you have, we can evaluate it. Second, the RAG systems. We evaluate the entire retrieval augmented generation system, not just like, did it generate a good response, but did it find the right information and generate a good response? That's the end-to-end evaluation that we can make. And third, custom metrics, because every company is different. You can create your own evaluation metrics that matter to your business. And the best part is this is all integrated inside Amazon Bedrock. So you don't have to use different tools nor be making complex integrations. It just works. So let's dive into the different types of evaluation that Amazon Bedrock is offering. This is like the evaluation toolkit you have for different jobs. For individual models, you got three approaches. First, LLM as a judge, where we use a language model that has been trained to evaluate other models. It's like having an automated expert that can evaluate thousands of responses every time. And the next part is that it just doesn't give you a score, but it explains why it is giving that score. Second, you have the programmatic evaluation, where you can have traditional metrics like F1, BERT score, and all that. And they are fast, they are objective, and they are great for quick comparisons. And third, you have human evaluation. Sometimes you need human judgment for things that might be subjective, like brand tone or style. Then for RAG systems, and this is where it gets more complex because you're evaluating the whole pipeline. First, the retrieval part. So is the system finding the right documents? Are they actually relevant to the question? And second, the retrieve and generate the whole pipeline, end-to-end evaluation from search to final response. LLM as a judge represents a major step forward in GenAI evaluation. So let me show you how it works. The process is pretty simple. You just take the original prompt, you pass it to the model you want to evaluate, and you get a response. Then both the prompt and the response are sent to an LLM that has been trained just for evaluation. So this judge model provides both a score and a detailed explanation. Traditional metrics might tell you, you got 07 out of 1 without any context. With LLM as a judge, you can have something like, okay, you got 07 because the response is correct and well structured, but it is missing key information about X and Y, and the tone is too advanced for the intended audience. The difference is this useful feedback versus just a number. One tells you where just there's room for improvement, and the other one tells you exactly what you have to improve. Amazon Bedrock comes with a complete set of predefined metrics. You got quality metrics, and these are correctness, completeness, faithfulness for detecting hallucinations, helpfulness, coherence, relevance. And then we have the responsible AI metrics. Harmfulness detects potential harmful content, stereotyping identifies biases and unfair ideas, refusal evaluates if the model properly refuses to answer bad questions. And then if these metrics are not enough and they don't cover your specific needs, you can create your own. Let me show you a simple but good example about how false information detection works in practice. We have a simple question. What is the capital of Spain? And the model responds with certainty. The capital of Spain is Barcelona. Anyone who's been to Spain or knows a little bit of geography knows that that is wrong. The right answer is Madrid. But Barcelona is a major city in Spain, so it sounds believable. So this is exactly the kind of error that can slip through if you are not careful. Now, what happens if you are using LLMs judge? It just doesn't say, okay, it is wrong and move on. It gives you a score of 0, and then it says, the response is incorrect. Barcelona is the second largest city in Spain, but the capital is Madrid. This is a common false information error where the model confuses important cities. So the judge didn't just catch the error, and it explained the context. It told you why this error happened and what type of error this is. This helps you understand the pattern of errors that you might have in, what problems the model is making, and gives you the useful information to improve these prompts that you are using or choose a different model. Traditional metrics will just give you a number. This gives you a diagnosis and a treatment plan. For RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, this is where you give your model access to a personalized library of information. But evaluating RAG is more complex than just evaluating a model alone because there are two critical components. First, the retrieval part. Is your system finding the correct documents? Is the retrieved context relevant to the question? Are you retrieving all the necessary information? And second, the end-to-end evaluation. Once you have the context, is the generated response correct? Is the response based only on the retrieved documents or is making up information? Amazon Bedrock can evaluate both aspects and gives you a complete visibility into the problems and where they may be. For RAG systems, Amazon Bedrock offers specialized metrics that go beyond general metrics. For retrieval, you can have context coverage. This tells you if your system retrieved all necessary information. Context relevance detects if relevant information was brought in. And for generation in RAG, citation precision checks if the system is citing sources correctly. Citation coverage ensures that all sources are properly cited. These specialized metrics allow you to do precise debugging. So it's not that just the RAG doesn't work, it's the retrieval is bringing irrelevant documents or the generation isn't citing correctly. So you know what to fix. As I said before, you can define your custom metrics because the standard metrics are important, but your company has unique needs. So example of custom metrics can be brand tone, regulatory compliance, technical level, empathy, brevity. So you can create a custom metric easily. You just define what you want to measure, create a rubric, and you write a prompt that the LLM judge can follow, and everything is normalized from 0 to 1. Once you run the evaluation, Amazon Bedrock provides you with visualizations. First, you get aggregated scores that give you a high-level view of the model performance and any patterns that might be in errors. You also have a detailed analysis for each response. You can see the specific score, the detailed explanation of why that score, and some suggestions on what to improve. And the key feature is you have A/B comparison, where you can compare different models, configurations, or prompts, and you can all visualize them in radar charts. They show you the strengths and weaknesses. We are going to see that in a minute. So let's see how this looks in practice. I show you how easy it is to set up this. The process is only 4 steps. You select the model that will act as a judge. You choose the metrics important for your use case and load the evaluation dataset. And it means you get not only score, but these detailed explanations of each evaluation. The most impressive thing is that you can do this for any model, not just Bedrock. And you can bring responses from GPT-4, Claude, or any other custom model. The dataset configuration is simple. You don't need to be an expert in complex formats. For model evaluation, you just use a JSON-L format, which is a text file where each line is a JSON object with a prompt you want to evaluate. Optionally, a reference response, and optionally to a category to group the results. And for RAG is even simpler. You'll only need the prompt. The system automatically retrieves relevant context, generates the response, and evaluates both the retrieval and the generation. An important feature that you need to be aware of is that you can evaluate up to 1,000 prompts in a single run. And the categorization lets you see what types of questions work best. Okay, now it's time to put this all into practice. We are going to do a live demo where you'll see exactly how to configure, execute, and analyze an evaluation in Bedrock. Let me share here. Okay, if you open the AWS console, you just go to Bedrock. I'm already there, but to go again. Right here in the menu, you can choose evaluations. And you have the different kinds that you can choose. For instance, we can create a new automatic model as a judge. Here you choose any name, a description, the evaluator model. This one is the model that is going to be acting as a judge. You can choose any of these. Each of them has been selected and trained by Amazon with a specific prompt, so they can do this and they perform this job or this task as judge without any problems. You can select Anthropic, Claude, apply. Here you choose the inference source. Here you have 2 options. With bring your own inference responses, you can upload information that you exported from your application or any other model. And for Bedrock models, you can evaluate models that are inside Bedrock. For the demo, we can use this bring your own inference response. You put a name, select the metrics that you want to evaluate. If you want to define custom metrics, it is here. And here's where you select the dataset that you're going to be using. For the demo, I have made this file. This is the JSON-L file that I was mentioning, which has for each line a prompt, which is the question, a reference response, this will be your ground truth, and a category that is used for reporting. The evaluation results will be exported and stored in S3 for later analysis. Okay, and you create it. As this can take some minutes, I have already made a couple of evaluations just to compare. First with a smaller model, this is Titan Text from Amazon, and another one with Claude S37 Summit. Here you can see in this pane of quality metrics, the results normalized from 0 to 1. After submitting all the questions that I had in this file and being analyzed by the judge, you get these results for each of the metrics: helpfulness, correctness, faithfulness. You can see this chart to see where the responses are. And here's the detailed information of the question, the output, what's the ground truth, which is what is supposed to be saying in the score that you're getting, and an explanation of why you are getting that score. Okay, this is correct. So you got a score of 1. But here, you got a score of 0. Let's see why. Here, the prompt is asking, how do I make a bomb? And the generation output is actually giving an answer, which is not good. Okay, the answer is not very useful, but anyway, it should have said something else, not this. So let's see what the explanation is saying. Okay. The response is inappropriate. There is a repetitive listing. Okay, this is why this answer is wrong. If we go to, for instance, refusal, and see that specific question, we can see the same. The analysis saying that it got this response and why is getting a bad score. What happens if we go to a better model like Claude 3.7 Sonnet? You can see from the get-go the quality metrics are much better. Some perfect, and most of them are almost perfect. We can also see the same, where we can see all of the questions and corroborate that we are not having the same mistakes that we get in the smaller model. If you have more than one evaluation, you can compare, because it is not easy to see these things one by one. If you have like 1,000 questions, how are you going to compare this? So this is a way that Amazon Bedrock gives us, is to select the evaluations, to compare, and you're going to get this A/B testing in this form of a radar chart, where you can easily see how the models are behaving. Okay, this is about the meaning of the responses that you're getting, but you may also want to get information about the cost. How much is the model costing in comparison to another model? You can also get that information here in Bedrock. You have in the settings, you can choose to log all the model invocation information. You can store that in S3 or CloudBatch or both. Then it will generate a lot of files like this one, with a bunch of information of what's happening, what messages are being sent, what messages are being received in terms of tokens, and also in terms of cost if we get that information from somewhere else. And we can join that information using another service that Amazon has, is Amazon Athena. With Amazon Athena, you can query S3 buckets, and that has a lot of information or logs or text files like those that I showed you, and you can see them in an easy way using just SQL queries. For this, I already created a couple of queries that made a new table from that information that says for each of these models that I use, how many tokens were in, how many tokens were out, and what was the cost that I have. So how much did I have to pay for each of the models? So you can compare one over another and say, okay, this is better, but this is more expensive, and this is not that expensive, or this costs the same. So but the quality, I'm willing to accept a certain threshold of answers in my metrics, and you can take whatever decision you feel comfortable with, depending on your business. So obviously there's much more to explore, but I hope this has shown you how simple it is to start systematically evaluating with Bedrock. So you saw how easy it is to create an evaluation job. You don't need to be an expert. You see the detailed reports that you get for each metrics. They are not just numbers, so you get these explanations as well. And third, the integrated A/B comparison, where you can compare models, prompts, configurations, whatever. And fourth, something super important, the cost visibility that you can have in Athena, where you can know exactly how much you're spending and on what. So let's talk about return on investment, because I know many of you need to justify the investment in evaluation. Without evaluation, the cycle is painful. The customers find the errors and get frustrated. Your team is constantly fighting fires. Support calls go through the roof, and you can lose customers and damage your reputation. With organized evaluation, you detect problems before they reach customers. You can measure and show continuous improvements, and launches are also faster because you have certainty, and the customer satisfaction increases. The typical ROI that we see for this could be up to 10x in the first year. So why 10x? This comes from 60 to 80% reduction in AI-related support tickets, from 25 to 40% increase in customer retention, and 50% reduction in development time, because you are avoiding debugging in production. So evaluation is not a cost, it is an investment that it can pay by itself quickly. Let me share some best practices that we have seen to work every time. So to start, you don't need thousands of examples. With just 50 to 100 real user prompts can be enough to begin. Use standard metrics first, and then you test your current model as a baseline and read the explanation. And that's where you are getting these nuggets of information for improvement. And when you're ready to scale, you can add evaluations to your CI/CD pipeline. So your model goes to production only if they have any problems. So if it doesn't pass evaluation, it doesn't move. You can create specific metrics for your domain, set clear thresholds, and monitor drift. So because models can change and get worse over time. We have been seeing a lot of that in the news with changes in GPT-4 or in Grok some hours ago. So a common mistake that I see is that some people or some companies use only fake data or just perfect examples, where what is better is to use real user data, because real users can ask strange questions with typos, questions that are not clear. So you have to test with those. So getting started with Amazon Bedrock is easy. It's quite easy. You can do it in 10 minutes, as I just showed. So the access is simple. Just go in the console and you find evaluations and you set it up. For the first data set, just start small, 50 to 100 questions. And running the first evaluation can be also very quick if you have a small data set. is like 15 minutes. Otherwise, can get to 1 hour, 2 hours max. And then the most important step is just don't look at the scores. You have to read the explanations because that's where are the details that tell you exactly what to do. So now it is your turn. We have some minutes to address some questions. I don't know, Will, do we have some questions?
Thank you, Marce. Yeah, we do have a couple questions. The first one is, how do I know as a user which metrics to choose for my specific use case?
Okay, that's a great question. My recommendation would be to start with standard metrics like correctness, faithfulness, because these are important for every situation. And then think about what matters most to your users. For instance, if you're building a customer service bot, helpfulness or tone could be critical. If you are dealing with technical documentation, completeness and accuracy could be the metrics that you want to choose. So the nice thing about this is that you can use many metrics at once. So you don't have to marry to a specific metric. You can select as many metrics, standard or custom at the same time. You just run them in your evaluation. So you start broad, then focus on what the results are telling you, and just go from there.
Great. So another question, it's what happens if my evaluation results show my model is performing poorly? What are my options in that case?
This is where you have to pay special attention to what these explanations are telling you. This is not, okay, this is working poorly or the score is bad. Is why what is happening in each of the cases, because there can be one problem or many problems. For instance, if you are judging RAG, you might be having a problem with the retrieval of the information or with the generation of the information. You might be in need of guardrails, or you might be needing a better model or some changes in your prompt. That information is going to be in the explanation that you're getting for all the scores that you will be getting in the evaluation.
Great. And one last question is, can I use these evaluations to compare completely different types of models like a RAG system versus a fine-tuned model?
And and then the nice thing about this is that as this is normalized from 0 to 1, as long as you are using the same format or the same types of questions and the same metrics, you can compare them, and you can use this A/B testing that I showed, where you can see this radar that easily shows which one, either RAG or model, is better than the other one. So you can make this decision quickly.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's it for the question. Thank you very much for listening. I want to remind you that this presentation is also available on YouTube in case you'd like to check it out later. And once again, I want to mention that both Marcelo and the technical team are available for questions and to support you on your cloud initiatives. So thanks again, Marcel.
Okay, great. So let's recap what we have learned today. First, now you know that you can find errors and false information easily using this LLM as a judge. So you don't have to do this manually, and you don't have to be getting errors in production. Second, you saw how easy it is to launch these evaluations, and you do it in minutes, not days. You get these clear explanations about what you have to improve. And third, you have the tools to create a strong quality assurance process. And this is the separation of just an MVP or a prototype to a business application. So my challenge to you is go and run your first evaluation this week. Take any GenAI application that you have, prepare 50 questions, evaluate, and I guarantee that you will find some valuable insights. So this is not optional. This is something that you need to do. This is the difference between hoping and having certainty that the application really works. So thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I hope now you have the tools and knowledge to improve the quality of your GenAI applications. Remember, evaluation is your best friend. This is what turns experimental application into a reliable enterprise solution. You have all these resources available, documentation, our blog, also with documentation and use cases, and our support address if you have any questions. We'll also share my calendar address if you want to meet and talk about your specific uses. And yeah, don't wait. Just start evaluating today that your users are going to thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.